Hello Aries, welcome back to my channel. I am Marianne and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So it's been a while since I've been posting. I have been moving to a different place and it actually went okay. It was okay. It's just things like that, it exhausts me. So I needed time to get my things in order here, and then to like regain an energy that is not as, you could say, masculine, because moving requires a lot of practical, physical decisions and choices, and it's like putting your entire life in a box. And me being a Cancer, very connected with my home space, that's a disturbing energy. So you could say I needed to like connect with the new place and kind of feel that this is actually my home, my space, my safe haven now, right? So thank you for bearing with me during this time, and I just hope that I can still bring you some kind of information or clarity or something that may help you. At least now I'm back and I am starting my readings again. And Aries, I feel like I have to start with you. And my meditation just told me or showed me the feelings of disturbances and how they are always present somehow. Even if we try to get the most peaceful life, and we don't do much to like stir the waters and make other people unhappy or whatever, even if we feel like we're just doing our thing, right? Aries, just doing our thing, it can create disturbances, right? Even if you don't know it, it may have created disturbances in your life. Maybe you are creating the disturbance. I just get something about disturbances and how we cannot. There's some kind of saying, something like, I believe actually it's a prayer, something like somehow accepting the things that we cannot change and the courage to change the things that we can change. And somehow I feel there's something like that. And for an Aries, that is maybe a little bit irritating, right? That there can be things that you can actually not change. Like they are not yours to change, or they are someone else's to change, maybe. If at all they will change or can be changed, the change is not supposed to come from you, or you're not supposed to do the work for it. It's maybe someone else's spiritual work. It's maybe someone else's. But for an Aries who can be fiery and passionate about wanting to do something, or wanting to change something, or wanting to influence something, or take action on something. For an Aries, that can be frustrating, not just to do it, right? Not just to get going. But I get the feeling there's something about some things you can do something about. And then there are others that they are not yours, or it has to do with another person. It has to do with the circumstances. Like, so interestingly enough, when I sat down and I wanted actually to do this first reading after this period of moving and getting myself ready into this more, you could say, creative mode, there was a lot of disturbance around me. Noise on the street, and I live in an apartment now, so there was noise above me and outside and under, and it could distract me, right? It could distract me from what it was that I wanted to do at the moment. So I actually and I could easily have dropped the mode. I could easily have said, no, okay, I wait then. Then I wait for a more quiet time. I wait for a better time to do what it is that I'm doing. So again, how do you react to the disturbances or the imbalance or the mess, maybe, that is around you, Aries? It's like you can still do your thing, maybe. And maybe there is a reaction to your thing, but it will quiet down, I believe. Like, it will be forgiven, or it will quiet down, or it will, because now the noise is gone. Now there's nothing here around me. So put it into your situation. This is a general reading, or general intuitive, like feeling, right? So just take it how it resonates for you. I'm kind of picking up, this could be a collective general energy at the moment. Could be the feeling that things are not moving in the right pace. It's too slow. It's or it feels too slow, that things are not happening as quickly as you want it to, or it's not. And then sometimes when we get impatient in a process where we are supposed to wait, or maybe it would be all right to wait a few more days. For an Aries, that could be very annoying. So maybe you take action on something, right? You use the fire energy, you take action because you don't want to wait anymore. And when you take that action towards something or someone, and they are not ready, it will give you a feedback, right? There will be a feedback towards you, a projection or anger, or maybe like a blocked feeling, because they don't want to, right? They are not ready. They don't want to talk. They don't feel that it's the time. Or your project, whatever you're working on, maybe is like using a force energy towards it. It's maybe not. It's maybe just creating more disturbances. Wanting something to be quick and fast and now is maybe just creating more disturbances. When you look at it afterwards, you would maybe be able to see that it just created a wave of maybe smaller but still disturbances in your life. So the fire energy is like a balancing act for now, maybe Aries, for you. And if you put something in motion and others have a projection, they put it back on you. They send it back towards you with a no, or with anger, or with sadness, or whatever it is. Or you just feel like the project you put your energy into is just becoming really annoying. It's like it's not working out, or you're trying to fix something and it's not working out. Like, and then when the problem is not solved, you use more force, right? You want it to be done, so you use more force, and the more force you use, the more disturbances come. It's like, well, you want to put up a shelf, right? And you drill the holes, and then you put up the shelf, and it looks great. And then you start putting stuff on it, and it falls down. And you believe you have done everything you should to make that shelf safe and solid. But it's like it doesn't work. Or when you put things on it, it's like it's not, it becomes, it changes, or it can't hold so much weight. It's not solid enough somehow. The project suddenly, a small project suddenly requires so much more than you anticipated. It could be something like that. Like a seemingly smaller project, or a seemingly smaller problem with a person maybe, is now becoming, or has developed into something much bigger. Or like there is these smaller waves of disturbances that come into your life that may have to do with one specific thing, like the shelf or whatever. But it could also be a problem with a person, right? Maybe it's a family thing, a reoccurring family dynamic. There could be some kind of like recognizing that there has been a pattern of disturbances after a starting point. Like a starting point, the shelf project, right? The starting point, it could be a family gathering. After that event, it could have been an accident in your life, but after this event, it's like there has been these waves of disturbances after. And you kind of just, you're trying to ride every wave of it, using your fire on it, right? Using your fire to somehow stay on top and don't drown in the waves, right? So you try to stay on top and ride these waves here. But it can be that you now have a clarity that there was a starting event, or there is a concern or a pattern that leads you right back to something. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Something like that. And then it's also this idea of how do you, when you could say, when you experience these maybe darker times or problems or frustrations, how do you react to them? Do you react at all? Can you decipher which one is mine to get myself involved in, and which one is actually not mine? Or at least I have to I have to let someone else work this out, because it's not my problem. It's, even if I want to help them, it's sometimes we can't make the mountain come to you, right? Sometimes maybe you need less force. The Aquarius energy that is said to be heavily influencing the earth at the moment is feminine. And it wants us to slow down. I have felt this very, very strongly for years now, that it wants us to slow down. Not as quick, not moving as quickly, not expecting as quickly, not forcing. But that's easier said than done, right? In our private life, we can do something maybe about this, but in the workforce, there are still the same expectations that things are done at a certain time, deadlines and so on. And therefore it can be a different time where it is a difficult time maybe to balance this energy. Okay, so let's get some cards on the table. This was just some kind of intuitive stuff. The message was definitely disturbances and how you react to them. Your own disturbances, what you create for yourself, but also what comes back to you from others, or from projects, from stuff, right? I get this feeling like when I sat down and I wanted to do this new like I really had to it's like my move is like a new beginning, right? I'm a new place, a new city, and the city has a different vibration if you trust in numerology. My home has a different house number, meaning that there's a different vibration. And it's like I felt like it should be this, like a new beginning. I don't know if you are about to have a new beginning, or you want something new, or you want to reawaken something or rekindle something. And it's but I feel like there is something like if you look maybe a few years back, there has been some kind of waves, I feel like. And there is a starting point. Maybe it's a meeting with someone. Maybe you met someone and it's like after that it has been this. Or you had an accident or something happened that when you look over a period of time, it's like there is this, like a wave of something. Up and down and up and down and up and but there's a starting point, I feel like. Maybe it's even all the way back to your childhood. Maybe it's something that happened there. an example that I feel like I'm guided to put out an example, my own example, for instance. If this goes all the way back to your childhood, I would say in my experience, my own experience, my life, it has been the mood, I would say, of my family home. The mood and the words that were used in my family home was very masculine. They were very it was not a loving environment. It was a very controlled environment. It was a productive, effective environment. It was a competitive environment. It was very conditional. It was about appearance. It was about never making mistakes, never being caught in making mistakes, always present right, especially to the surrounding world, right? And with that came a lot of guilt, shame, blame, fear. And if I look back on that, yeah, then it's right. After that kind of programming, my life was a wave of stuff. And how I handled them was a direct result of my original upbringing. Because I brought the guilt and the shame and the fear and the blame into every wave of it. And I analyzed the situation through those glasses and made decisions from that standpoint, from that beingness, from that consciousness. So I've dealt with my life through those glasses of lack and scarcity and all this shame and blame and guilt, and I put it on myself, right? And I've handled the waves of my life. Maybe it's not entirely back to your childhood, maybe it's just a few years back, maybe it's back to an accident or some kind of encounter, some kind of experience. I have the feeling that it's something that tipped everything around. Like it's somehow, it's almost like a flipping of your life or something. Like it flipped everything around. As for instance, if I grew up in a loving, caring, beautiful home, with so much more, you could say also, not so much shame, not so much guilt tripping and blaming and stuff. If I grew up in a loving, supporting home, I would probably have dealt with the waves differently. It's that kind of realization that when that happened, I chose something afterwards when I needed to deal with my waves here. Disturbances waves or whatever, frustration waves. It all goes back to a certain point. And if this was different, if something else was different here, or at this point, everything flipped, and therefore I dealt with my stuff in this way. Maybe someone cheated on you, right? And after that experience, it was different for you to enter into relationships. Because there was mistrust, there was still sadness and sorrow maybe from a previous relationship and you now bring the fear or the mistrust into new relationships. It's something like that. Just put it into your situation, right? But somehow I also get the feeling, at least in my own case, it has been a longer period of time of needing to give myself compassion for the decisions that I've made when I was riding my waves here, that my consciousness didn't allow me to do differently. When you know better, you do better, right? It's something like that. When you know better, you do better. Or you do different. So I've had to forgive myself. I put myself into a lot of trouble, actually. Or I was very dishonest with myself. I made poor choices. I regarded myself too little, I didn't take care of myself, I would say. I didn't take care of me during the waves. And for that I have to forgive myself. For that I have to be compassionate with. Yeah, I get the feeling of a starting point. This is not necessarily my story. I believe I'm on a certain timeline. And you out there, if you resonate with my readings or what I tell you here, you're probably on some similar timeline with some of the same problems. This is not supposed to be my reading. I do the vibes inside, that's my channel name, but it's not necessarily my vibes, right? It's just an expression of energy. So if you feel like you're on a timeline similar to mine, maybe with different problems, maybe with different issues, but still then I hope this is interesting to you. We have Saturn at the moment retrograding, which in itself is interesting, because Saturn is well, I remember when I started just reading a little bit about astrology and the planets. At that point in time, my consciousness was different than it is now. And when I read about Saturn, I felt like it was this punisher, right? This, like someone, an evil planet, almost like like this punishing bad planet somehow. It's called a great teacher, right? It's something like it puts stuff in your way somehow. And then again, there's this, how do you deal with it? Do you get reactive? Do you get caught in it? Do you get obsessed in it? Do you lose yourself in it? Do you get angry and aggressive, or do you hide yourself? Do you hide away? Do you flee the scene? And Saturn is here now, retrograding, meaning that it can bring up stuff from the past. It can bring up stuff that is kind of heavy, because Saturn doesn't come with like a beautiful lovey-dovey energy. I want to say, when you realize what it is that Saturn wants to teach you, then it can become different. To the point that you can actually be appreciative of Saturn. You can be appreciative of what it is that wanted to be shown towards you. But when you're in it, feeling the heat of it, when you are burned by it, then it's not that fun. Let's have an overall energy here. Amethyst. Okay, yeah, this card has for a long time been there is some kind of clarity that wants to come in. I feel like some kind of message that wants to come in. We see the purple in the background, and I was actually drawn to my purple candle this morning. Somehow that it's because purple connects with crown chakra. Maybe you have crown activity right now, meaning you can have buzzing in your head, or the feeling of like ants moving around in your brain. I've had that for more than a year, I feel like, at some point. It could be the feeling of headaches, pressure, stuff going on, downloads you get, some kind of knowledge, and then you're questioning it maybe. But what I get from this card is this interesting idea that there's something that we could say that the lower part here could, down here where we see it's more shadowy, right? The star and the sun is more shadowy down here. It's like it's dimmed. It's dimmed, or unclear, or it's like you can't touch it. Maybe you've been looking for some kind of clarity. Maybe you have been investigating something you can't find the information. Or you have been searching your own soul, and it's like it hasn't revealed itself to you. So this could even represent the subconscious, unconscious mind. And then it's like something comes up. Something suddenly becomes conscious to you. The sun suddenly creates this clarity, right? Suddenly something becomes clear, like an epiphany. It says here transformation, certainty, and confidence here. Maybe you have a certainty about something, or a clarity, I want to say a situation where you're no longer doubting anything. If there were doubts at some point, you're not doubting it anymore. It's like, maybe you have, because Saturn is here, maybe you have situations where, or people that say something. It's like a repetitive stuff. Maybe they say something, they behave in a certain way, they put maybe projections on you, as they used to do, like maybe way back, maybe back to your childhood, right? Maybe you feel the pressure of something again. And it's about realizing the patterns, I feel like. See the pattern. Or feel it. Feel the pattern. How does this make me feel? How when people look at me in a certain way, how does it make me feel? Or, I know Aries, it's like you would just don't care, right? You would just go for it anyway. But there's something that comes, maybe it has to do with yourself here, that maybe it's something you did where you have never second guessed your decision. Maybe you never thought about it. And now suddenly something comes up to the surface here that tells you, oh, maybe that's why they shamed me. Maybe that's why they stayed away. Maybe that's why they're not coming back. Maybe that's why my project is not working out. Maybe that's why my intentions are not getting fulfilled, or whatever this is, right? There could be some kind of clarity that suddenly shines a different light on something. And it does something to your, you could say the star energy is integrity, authenticity. It's who you are. It's something about, the star is like the north node. It's who you truly are, who you're supposed to be, right? Who you are, why you're here. It could be the purpose for you reincarnating here. Maybe it's something that really, if this is a work thing, like a work pressure, maybe you realize that I have been under that kind of pressure so many times in my work life. I see that clearly now. And if I'm being honest with myself, maybe I have to do something about it. Otherwise, I cannot be in integrity with myself. I cannot be in integrity with, or authentic as a whole person. So there's something about this. Maybe this is about maybe offering an apology. Maybe it's about you hoping that someone else wants to offer you an apology. Like maybe you hope that someone will finally see something. Maybe you wish for someone to have the clarity about something, so that they, like someone who is living in denial maybe, right? Living from an unconscious place of fear or something. You want them to have the clarity, right? You want them to have the, oh, now I see. The awakeness, or a different consciousness. But again, this is this idea that we cannot force it, right? We cannot force it upon others to wake up, if that's what we talk about, like a spiritual awakening. That could be the event also, that you had an event that changed something, that flipped something, and the waves that have been after, you have been riding some waves and gotten clarity. You have actually managed to get unconscious stuff into the clear mind. Like you have managed to draw unconscious stuff into your conscious mind and have a different clarity about it. And you hope others will too, maybe. But we can't force it on them, right? We can't just push it. At the bottom of the deck, the goddess of creation here. It's such an interesting energy. She's very feminine here. That's exactly what I just talked about. We according to astrology, we move slowly but surely. We move into the age of Aquarius, which is very feminine. It's very intelligent. It's very enlightened. It's very. We say that Aquarius is the sign that is it's the most intelligent air, oldest and most intelligent air sign. So a period of, I want to say, maybe an intelligence shift, maybe a consciousness shift in the way that we are in the age of Pisces that we have left, you could say, still feeling the aftermath maybe of it. Pisces is a very watery sign. It's very emotional, it's very sensitive, it's very psychic. It's very alert, like nervous system alert, where I want to say the air energy is different. The air energy can, as opposed to be living very much in the realm of emotions. Like I mentioned in my own situation, fear and shame and blame and guilt, and having those as like dominant, controlling features in my life. Of course, it influenced my choices until I got conscious. Until I got conscious about what? Have I been almost directed by these feelings most of my life? Yes, I have. I still am to a certain point, but my consciousness is now allowing me, my consciousness, the crown, my consciousness is now allowing me to see stuff differently, to see situations differently. The feminine energy is undergoing a transformation. Here it is again, I have transformation twice here now. Overall and underlying energy here. The things you experience in your life is because of a feminine goddess, god of creation. This is the Venus feminine energy here. Look at her. Like she's we could even say if I don't see, well, she could be seductive, right? But that's not how I see her. I see her as not only I see her as free. I see her as content and satisfied and free and relaxed and able to breathe, and it's like a feminine energy that has been crumbling and that has been, it's almost like the door has been opened to a little box and now she can finally stretch, right? It's this feeling of I can breathe again. I can relax. I'm not threatened. It's like a rise of a feminine energy that it claims to be safe, that claims to be, claims her right to breathe, to create, to stretch, to be seductive if that's what she wants, but definitely to flow and enjoy, and somehow it comes through today as a very sensing. I see like the pictures of like a cornfield, like you let your hand glide over the corn or the grass or something. It's very sensing, like sensing, sensations. like just like this, a sensitive touch can give you sensations of calm, of peace, of connection. It releases endorphins, right? It calms the body. But it can also excite the body, right? It can be sexually arousing. It can be passionate. There could be something about your body, maybe your body asking to sense. Put your feet in the water. Walking barefoot on the shore on a beach, or maybe just the sensation of laying on a beach bed, and you just like the sun, right? That the sun touches that just the sunlight is touching her, and not just to get a suntan, right? That you let the ego idea of the suntan go. It's not why you're there. The point is that you put yourself on the sunbed to just register how the sun touches your body, how it warms your body up, and how it makes the body feel. You get the distinction between putting on a bikini and just walking to the beach because you want a tan. And while you lay there, you have music in your ears and sunglasses, and you spot all the hot guys out there. That's not the point of what I'm saying here. It's like she wants something. The underlying feminine energy wants something else. Your body maybe is looking for something else. It's looking for... It's a reviving, I hear, reviving of the body, maybe, a reviving of something. Reviving of the... It's like if we talk about Aries in the zodiac wheel, Aries is the toddler, it's the newborn, it's the first... it's the first sign of the zodiac. And what does a child do? It senses everything. It's the only way it can learn about the world. It uses all of its senses, including the body, including all the sensations it gets from hot and cold and warm and soft and hard and thorns and something soft, something crunchy, something bright, something dark. When you walk into a dark room, your senses is activated in a certain way. When you walk in a very bright room, your senses are also activated in a certain way, but it's different. It could be something about experience, or doing experimentation maybe with some of this. It could be as simple as, let's say you normally brush your teeth with your right hand. Try to do it with the left hand. It activates the opposite brain, side of the brain. And it will probably feel awkward in your mouth, but try to do it anyway. Try to drink your coffee in different ways. Like maybe you put milk in it and you normally don't. Maybe you put cream in it, you normally don't. Maybe you put cream and sugar in it and you normally don't. Try to drink it, using the other hand. Try to drink it with a straw, like a child would do, right? Try to walk barefoot on grass, on the beach, as I said. Dip your toes in. Let the sun touch your body, right? But not just to be in this egoic mind of I want a tan so I look great when I go out dating or something. Try to do it where you sense it. You sense it. It's like I feel like a reclaim of something bodily. Underneath, this is underlying, and there's something about the feminine, the body, the feminine wants to reclaim space, like stretch again. It feels like she's been hiding, tucked down in a little small dark basement, and it's like she's stretching. She wants to stretch, right? And that's why some have awakenings. That's why we go through stuff where we suddenly have different clarity. Maybe that's what comes from underneath, from the unconscious into the conscious mind, that this is you. Or a part of you that you have mistreated or you have forgotten about. You have not allowed it to. It can even be that this is another person, that you think about another person here. And you realize that she has been under a lot of pressure here. Or he, right? Not gender specific here. That something has been under a lot of pressure. And it wants to stretch. It wants to be free. It could even be something like it could be even like releasing a child. Let's say if you are an adult, you have children, right? That there's something about the children needing to stretch. Like, don't control their lives so much. Don't. They need to find their own footing, right? It's like she wants to find her own footing here. She wants to stretch. She doesn't want to be bottled up in a little black corner and controlled or there's something about that, like wanting to stretch more, or it could be something about like if you don't feel like you have been bottled up in a black corner, maybe this talks about stretching into a new area of life, like learning something new, expanding towards I still get something about the sensations, something like maybe this is an area that you have never allowed yourself to open in you. Like it has been maybe repressed or denied or shame-based or something. And now it's like I realize that someone else is going through something like this, or I realize that I want to do that. I want to tap into this, but I have never. Maybe this, what you're doing here, maybe it's, or what is stirring under its underlying energy, what's stirring underneath is maybe it's something like you don't know the outcome, right? You don't know the outcome of doing this, whatever that is, stretching. And therefore you're maybe you're not sure we could even say that when we look at this one, her eyes is wide open. This one seems like sleeping, right? If we look at the colors, we have purple here, very intelligent, air-oriented, consciousness-oriented. I would say someone maybe spiritually awakened, or at least in a process of changing something, realizing something, having all these like intuitive downloads or consciousness awakenings from deep within yourself here. And on the other hand, we have someone sleeping here in the realm of green and bluish. So someone very much in the heart orientation. Maybe someone living very much off their emotions and maybe not awakened here, like sleeping, stretching, but someone who, it could be someone very different from you. Maybe you have strong air somehow in your chart, or you are working with your consciousness, Aries, and someone here is not. But somehow I get the feeling that the reason why you woke up, maybe the reason why everything, some of this is happening to you is because of this inside. If this one is inside you, I want to say, if this is a part of you that has been denied somehow, this is the reason why you experience some of this. It wants you to become conscious of a side of yourself that needs to stretch, that needs to expand somehow. That's why you had the awakening, maybe. That's why you can see now that the starting point of something was actually her starting to stretch, but it's just, it came, you experienced it as a lot of ego, like an ego defense, right? You didn't want it, maybe. Maybe you denied it. Maybe you ran away from it. Maybe you we even also see her here, like she's standing in water here, right? But now it's like she has, at least most of her body is over water, where this one could be swimming in water. Maybe you used to be like this, caught up in your feelings and emotions, right? Maybe someone still is and can't seem to get themselves out of it, where you see something clearly. And maybe you want to help them, maybe you want to tell them, but if they are not ready, if they don't feel like they're not ready to listen, they are in a different space. If this was you previously, I want to say you were definitely in a different space. And now it's like you, there's also something about this, like standing. There is an activeness about the standing person here, who sees and knows something, and is, where this one is more passive, right? It seems more passive. It's laying, it's maybe dreaming, maybe sleeping, like it could even talk about that the clarity you get comes from your sleep, that your feminine is working in you when you sleep, So when you sleep, you touch into the sensitive feminine energy, and it gives you information that when you are conscious, it comes to you, right? It's like it's almost like she's down here in the conscious, like this side of you represents this. And when you sleep, it's like you are in the watery, very sensitive, very maybe the fishy Pisces energy. This is maybe where you have your psychic abilities. It's almost like you have it's in you, and when you sleep, it helps you to bring it to the surface. So I want to say it's important where you sleep. It's important to think about your sleeping environment. Declutter your sleeping environment. I recently learned something about how to sleep. But the direction of your head and your feet. So it's supposed to, according to old ancient Eastern philosophy, you're supposed to sleep with your head north and your feet south. So your head facing, sorry. I did that once earlier today. You're supposed to sleep with your head south and your feet north. Your head facing south, your feet facing north. I didn't know that. But you can try it out. You can try it out. When I moved into this apartment, the first night it was a bit chaotic here. I just kind of put in my bed in a room. Everything was a bit messy, and I didn't think much about it actually. But that first night was terrible. I didn't sleep well, and maybe I kind of anticipated that. It's a new place, and everything was still a feeling of a mess around me in the apartment. So, I kind of anticipated that. But the next nights were equally bad. So I turned the bed, but I couldn't remember. I have read about it several years back, something about what direction you should put your bed, and I forgot about it, but it came up again, right? And I changed my bed. I put it in the direction where my head is now facing south and my feet facing north, and I get better sleep. I get a different sleep, a better, longer, deeper sleep. And I'm just mentioning it because maybe there's something to this, that how you sleep is also a way of getting access to the subconscious stuff, perhaps, here. Okay, I don't know. You can look it up. There's a lot on Google or something like that, directions how to sleep. There's even something about if like we have the marriage bed, and you have the like the do you, as a man or a woman, if you are in that relationship, which side do you sleep on? The right side is supposed to be for the man. The left side is supposed to be for the woman. But many years of my marriage, I slept on the right side, he slept on the left side. I don't know if that had any kind of influence on our relationship. I don't know, right? It's just, I just look back on something. I'm not really a big fan of the idea that all the kind of information you can get out there is supposed to be a religion. I don't think so. I don't think numerology should be. I don't think astrology should be. Or any other kind of tarot for that matter. I don't think it should be a religion. I don't think we should rely on it as the only correct way of understanding the world. I don't think that the human brain is able to even understand. It's just a tool. It's a tool to somehow... I just observe this stuff. I observe numerology in my life. I observe astrology. And just have fun with it. I don't rely on it as a religion. When I find patterns that numerology can explain, when I find patterns that are like a Mercury retrograde or Saturn retrograde like now, and it seems like stuff is turning up in my life, I just observe it and think, okay, interesting, right? It's like I just take notes on it. Not like, yeah, that's also because Saturn is retrograde. Now all this bad stuff is happening. No, not like that. I don't do that. I wouldn't recommend any of you doing that either. I wouldn't do that. I just observe it. And even if I observe it in others as well, and how they react to it, right? What is their go-to reaction? Default reaction. That could be an interesting thing again also to become aware of in yourself. What is my default reaction system if I get pressured? In my case, I become a fixer. During this move that I just had, I became extremely masculine, very organizing, very planning, very getting stuff done, fixing stuff, aligning stuff, find organization, all this kind, very earthy, very grounded, very practical. I get a Miss Fix-It kind of default energy, and that's very typical for me. But it's a very exhausting energy for me. I don't relax good when I'm in that mode. So that's one of my default reactions to pressure or stress or like imbalance around me somehow. Maybe you could check yours. What's yours? Because Saturn retrograde is here now. Just observe yourself. And interestingly enough, during this move that I had, the more pressure I put on myself to get things done, the more exhausted I get. Right? So it's well, you know what I mean. let's have a look here. Now I have someone in a different apartment shouting something, and I register that I am disturbed by it. Just give me a second here. There's something about the center card. The center card is always important, but it's like, I get the point that it's almost like this is this aha, like a feeling. It's like you see how, like you found the trigger or something, of something. It's almost like that. This one is important, and then it's like there is something from the past, something future oriented you are maybe dealing with, or that is troubling you. Then there's something that could be subconscious or from childhood, and then there is something spiritual here, I think. So let's have a look at what this is. Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is a card of equal give and take. I've had for a long time when I see this. Well, the Six of Pentacles in tarot is actually a card of equal give and take. It's this feeling of equality. We are equal. We have the same rights. We have. You could even say that we see each other as equal. We respect each other as equal. You could say that energy is divided equally between us. the exchange of energy between us is equally divided. But it's so interesting when we look at this. It's like we have a grown man and a little girl. Does this seem equal to you? Does this seem equal? I don't think so. To me, every time I get this card, I hear the lyric "Dance Monkey." Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh, oh. Dance for me. Like you've been doing before. And look at it. It's like she is able to, this little girl with her purity and innocence. And also look at the different. I've actually never looked at that before, but look at his robe and look at her dress. It's actually torn to pieces. I've never seen that before, actually. I've never seen that it's not really that golden and bright. And look at him, like it's like she masters something. She has something here. She has some kind of light, some kind of purity, some kind of goodness maybe. And he gives her money, right? It's like he offers her a coin here when she can show this. It's like, make this dance. Dance for me, dance for me. Do this, whatever it is that you do. Do that for me and I will give you money. And for the money you can buy food, you can buy shelter, you can buy clothes, right? So if you act for me, if you perform for me, I give you this. If you show up as a good girl or if you show up as a good woman, I give you this, I provide for you. But he only gives her one coin, seemingly, right? Because it seems like he's using more of his coin on himself than on her. And somehow, even in the Rider-Waite Tarot, we have, in the Rider-Waite Tarot, there is also a man of status that is handing out coins to two kneeling persons around him. She is not kneeling, but she is definitely smaller, right? There's this element of being smaller than something else. In the Rider-Waite Tarot, we have two adults kneeling. Definitely something about a status or hierarchy, you could say a difference. Like something is in charge of something else that is smaller or regards themselves as smaller. And this one determines when they hand out the money. When the child performs something here, then they hand out the money. So put that into your situation. Have you had some kind of situation in your life where you were a dance monkey? We could even say if this is a boss at work and you were this person and you had to perform in a certain way, you had to be a professional worker here. But you had to do it in a certain way, then you would get your salary, right? Something bigger is in charge here. But what does that symbolize, this money, the giving of money when someone performs something here? To me, it talks something about value. Am I of value? If I am of value enough, I will receive this. So there's something about how do I value myself? And do I feel like I have to be a performer? Have I been a performer in my life more than being authentic? Did I have to change something about myself to get the coin? The coin can represent a lot of stuff. It can be the feeling of money, of course, but it for a child, money is. The money represents maybe food on the table. The money could represent a house, a bed to sleep in, toy. It could be having a new dress, maybe, right? So put it into your situation. What does the money here represents? An pentacle. Pentacle is something earthy. So it can be something about living environment. It can be savings in the bank. It can be something about general living standards. Paying rent, right? Has there been any kind of disturbance about pentacles in your life? Have you felt that somehow there was lack, maybe, or mess, or something disorganized, something disturbing? Maybe that's the word I got when I meditated. Something disturbing. So disturbing in that sense, what does that mean? It could be the feeling that I need to perform. I need to perform as a child to get some kind of value from my father, maybe here, or mother. That if I perform, and this could be also like get the right grades, so you could get, what's that called? When you perform in the right way, when you get the good grades, someone is satisfied and is giving you a gift. But it could also come with the point, but only if you do that, right? I take this back if you're not performing somehow. So take it how it resonates. I don't know exactly what this little light fairy here is. It could even, because the light fairy could represent something like play. It could represent something like living in a fantasy. It could be something like it could be magical, right? It could be psychic. If you stay like this, then you are somehow rewarded. But that means that you can't grow up, right? You cannot grow up and be equal with this one. If you're supposed to stay little, maybe naive or less knowledgeable, not educated, whatever it put it into your situation, right? If you're supposed to be in some kind of a magic world, in a fantasy world, in an illusion somehow, then I will give you money. You can stay there. And I will give you the money. Because you perform something for me. You somehow do something here that I like, that this one likes. Therefore, he gives you the money. He wants you to stay like this. Maybe you want to stay like this. But it means that to get the attention of someone like this, you have to do something here, be something. Do something, be something, stay something. Stay small, stay little, stay beautiful. Or something like pure, innocent, little, beautiful girl here. And then I give you a coin. It's rather conditional, I feel like. I don't think this is equal, like equal give and take. I don't see it like that. I still hear this, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh, oh. It's like, you're doing something here. Or being something, and they are liking it, and they reward you from it if you just stay like that to them. I don't know if this is about a father or a mother or an uncle or some kind of, maybe a masculine energy, but a masculine energy can be in a woman, a mother as well, right? So take that how it resonates. A little girl can be a little boy, right? But I want to say it could even be something you experienced, literally. But it could also be something you have internalized. So this is still in you. That somehow I have to be this person to be rewarded anything, or to get money, or to be... I have to stay little or small somehow to get something from someone else. It could even be that your adult conscious mind is trying to get by in life, but it's still dealing with a part of yourself that feels that it should never grow. Maybe a feminine part of you is still very immature. It's still just learning to stretch. It's still just learning to breathe again. It hasn't grown up. It's still small. Right? Take that how it resonates for you. Let's have the cards out here. Yeah, an emperor here from the past. Aries energy. So here you are, Aries. This is you, right? This guy is very you could say, self-confident. He trusts himself. He is you could say he's a ruler, right? He's an emperor. This is someone who is not just a king, but he's a king of kings. So he has kings in his hierarchy, right, underneath him. He is the ruler of several kingdoms where there are kings in it. So this is like the top He rules an entire empire, right? This is someone who feels like they are top management. It could be a CEO, it could be someone in charge of a big corporation. As I said, it could be a work situation as well. Maybe there's a boss here that you that is around you here. They could be this guy, right? So this guy here could be this emperor, the boss, somehow. It could be a father figure or a grandparent, but someone who has a lot of status in the family, someone who even power. They regard themselves as someone in charge, but they are also seen as someone in charge, I think. So you see them as someone in charge, or they have put themselves in a powerful position in your life. It could be you in the past, that you were this top person. You were the one in charge. You actually had maybe you had a management position. You were being driven, passionate, like and ambitious, very fiery. I want to say the emperor is typically also someone who, they get up and get stuff done, right? If it's worth fighting for, they get up and get stuff done. So it could be part of yourself at one point in time in the past. Maybe you were like this, right? But now there's a different situation, I think. So are you still this one? Are you still this one who hands out coins to something you like here? As long as it stays smaller than you? Or have you now become this one and being reliant on someone else who has this position here? Something big. I want to say the emperor, to me it can maybe even, again, it can represent like a boss, a corporation, maybe even like a system. It could be a family system that is big, that or even like a cult, right? A family belief, or that is big, and you need to perform according to it. It could even like a set of rules, right? A set of expectations. Somehow I feel like it's a person around you. As I said, it's something around you here. It's a person around you that may somehow still has a way to make you feel like this. And maybe you do want the Six of Pentacles. Maybe you do want equality. You want something equal from them, but what you get is not equal. Seven of Cups. Again, look at the imagery here. A little person here standing in front of this big dragon who sits on a pile of money or gold here. And they are quite feisty here. They can spit fire at any time, like this one, right? It's like they sit in such an element of power, money, or whatever this is, right? Fiery, Aries, very big here, and someone is very small. So who are you facing here, Aries? Are you the little one? Or are you the emperor, the one in charge, the one who has the money, the one who hands out the money if they feel like you are performing right? If you do well. If you do well and what is expected, you are rewarded, right? Someone is rewarding someone else, or you get rewarded if you perform in a certain way. So who are you here? Which one is you, Aries, here? Maybe you have the clarity about something. Seven of Cups is typically a card of being very fascinated by something, because it feels so big and alluring and fascinating, and it again, we see this little guy being astonished about this one, right? It's so big and fascinating, so fantastic, so alluring, so golden. But sometimes a person like this can be fascinated by all kinds of stuff if they don't feel they have it themselves. In the Rider-Waite Tarot, we don't have just one, like a dragon here. We have multiple cups standing, and in each cup there's different stuff that this guy is fascinated by, because he doesn't feel like he has it himself. He's depicted as a shadowy person, like he's just a shadow of whom he could be, right? And when you don't feel sure about yourself, you get easily fascinated by someone who does seem like they are very powerful and very wealthy, maybe, and very fantastic. This could even be a card of like someone who gets easily fascinated by quick solution, like quick fix solutions, right? Or quick fix schemes. Get themselves drawn into situations that are maybe not very good for you, but it's almost like you can't not do it. Like it draws you in somehow. Almost like obsessive, right? He stands out here on the gray zone where there is no money, and the dragon lays on all this gold. But the point is, you don't get to the goal unless you deal with the dragon. So what is it you need to do to satisfy this dragon to get the gold? Again, this point, what is it you need to do to satisfy the dragon? And it's a red dragon. We have red robe here, and we have a red dragon. So a red dragon is a fiery dragon. So that could be anger, that could be rage, that could be root represents root chakra, right? Root is the base of our spine. It is our primal instincts of connection, but also of fear. The very primal, very first encounters when we as newborn arrive in the world, we are totally dependent on someone to take care of us. And in that vulnerable state, we develop some kind of connection with the surrounding world around us, our primal caretakers. No matter the situation, we have to somehow. even if it's a hostile environment, that the parents are not good parents, they are sick, they are whatever the situation is, you have to somehow, as an infant, you have to somehow connect with what is around you. Otherwise, you can't survive. So there's something about the red. Even we see him here. He also has like red decorations here. Red can also represent danger, right? Red at a crossing light represents stop, right? So that there can be this feeling of, whoa, this is very alluring, but I see the red stoplight, right? So it's like, I know that I shouldn't go there, but it's so fascinating to me. Maybe that's what you're also dealing with, or you have been dealing with, situations that lure you in easily. But there's a catch, right? There's a catch here, or a danger. Maybe you are someone who likes being drawn into dangerous situations. Maybe they lure you in somehow. And the reason why that is because I get the feeling with the Six of Pentacles, it's because you feel like you want it too. You want the equal given, you want the equality, you want the connection, the feeling of being, I hear the same. Like wanting to be the same as them, maybe? Wanting to be the same as them? Copying them, becoming like them? And they ask something of you. Yeah, you can do that if you just perform something here. Get the good grades and all this stuff. Then I reward you. And you can become like me. You can become just as successful as me as long as you do what I tell you here. But again, how are you supposed to become your own ruler, your own self-confident, self-assured, powerful ruler here if you always do someone else's bidding here? That is a surrendering situation. This guy doesn't surrender. Not without a fight, right? This guy, he believes that he is in charge. He believes that he has the power. But the girl here, she is designed to be, or programmed to do the bidding, to be rewarded somehow. She's rewarding for being a performer here. Performing right. It could be, let's say you work in sales, right? You perform right. Your sales are good, then you get the bonus. But you have to be a performer. You have to do something. Maybe this is not really you. But it's something that has been in your life. It's been part of your life. This striving for success, maybe. Becoming like someone else. Becoming in charge of something. But always felt smaller. Always felt little. And I think it has to do with the way that you were trained. I almost want to hear. Train. You were trained. Do what I tell you, then you can be like me. But if you do what someone else tells you, it's not developing your own authenticity, your own integrity, your own sense of power. Yeah. Then I have the Nine of Wands here. Well, the Nine of Wands is a feeling of, I want to say, tension. A lot of tension. Nine of Wands is the feeling that you're carrying a lot of burdens. Again, look at this. This is it's almost shown as a ring here. The trees in the background. I see it a little bit like a wrestling ring. A big lethal animal here. This swine can easily kill a human being. And someone is sitting riding on it here. Because this is the only way you're safe, right? If you are in this arena, you can be stung by this one. You can be killed by this one. The Nine of Wands is a feeling that you're carrying a lot of burdens. Something that burns you here. Something that exhausts you. Something that is very tiring. But I also get the feeling like it's ongoing, like you are in a ring you can't get out. It has been an ongoing process or feeling that you're dealing with. You're dealing with something, a big, like a big animal here. Learning to ride it, right? Learning to ride it here. But I also want to say, because he has this person, whatever this is has reins over this one. And we have a person standing here observing a situation. Somehow I get the feeling that you could have been watching a situation where someone was manipulating a bigger animal here. Someone is, this, whatever this is, I see this as like a troll energy. That is, it's sitting here and riding someone else, this big animal's back here. This little guy is in control of this one. Whatever this represents, it can be a consciousness thing that controls the way of this person's conduct. Let's say the troll represents a programming, a manipulative influence on this animal's behavior. And someone is observing it. It could be that you are observing yourself, how you felt like you were trapped in an arena, and you had to somehow learn how to be in here, trapped in here somehow. And the only way you could do that was by creating something that kept you moving. A story in your head, an illusion maybe, a choice of consciousness that is controlling this animal here. Maybe it's even a manipulative thought that you realized, I can manipulate this person by being a certain performer. I can manipulate them to reward me. Right? That would be a manipulative thought to do that. But it could be what happened, that you figured out how to control the animal, or a way, even again this idea that if you are stuck in a certain situation with this animal, you have to it's like get to know your enemy, right? Maybe you have to become friendly with your enemy. Then you can actually play with it. You can, when you do something, when you play or dance in a certain way, you can become friends with this one. So if you play and dance in a certain way with this animal, you can become friend with it. They allow you to ride its back here now. They trust you somehow. They trust you enough to ride its back. But the reason why they trust you is because you perform in a certain way. You learn to perform in a certain way, I think, to earn their trust. Because there is a feeling of being trapped somehow in a situation. And for a child you are. A child is, to a certain point, or is dependent on their parents, right? Until they get old enough and they can move out and they can have their own job or whatever. They are dependent on the home. They are dependent on the parents in the home. And they have to accept the situation here, even though it burns you to be here. You had to learn to ride the wave, you could say, when you feel like you are standing in front of something big here, whatever it meant. You learned how to ride the wave, how to figure out how to, you could say, stay on top of something. Even if you were presenting with a big tension here. But the only way you could do that was maybe to create a different persona, becoming a performer. So acting something here, acting being a friend, taking on a certain role of a confidence, maybe like a confident. But also there's this hierarchy level, a confident or a loyal, what's that called? A loyal pawn. A loyal pawn. I'm your loyal pawn in this arena. So I'm your ally. You became an ally. I'm an ally with something here. I learned how to be an ally. By performing a certain role. Then I became an ally. I was forced to because I was burning. It was burning me here. I couldn't get out, right? This is the limit. I could only get as far as this. Then I would be burned by the wands here. So I only have a certain element of freedom around me here. I can only navigate in this realm. So I'm not safe anywhere here. I'm not safe. So if I'm not safe, I have to somehow connect still. And the only way I can do that is to design myself as a loyal friend, as a loyal substitute or a loyal servant, maybe. I have to be, there's a trauma bonding here, I think. It's because of fear, we change and become something that can be tolerated, even liked, even to the point that it's rewarded. And it's interesting, this idea that someone is observing this. Maybe it's even a role that you have observed someone else did. Maybe your mother performed this role and you observed it and you learn from it, right? You learn to become the same as maybe a mother or a father in a situation where they are not equal. But because they are clever enough, manipulative enough, and they design themselves as with the right role, with the right behavior, they are accepted. or tolerate it, or I want to say more than tolerate it, accept it, to the point that it can now ride on the back of this beast, holding the reins. Maybe you realize that I can control a situation as long as I say certain things, as long as I behave in a certain way, as long as I show up and do stuff in a certain way, then I can have the right money, or I will be rewarded somehow by someone. Maybe someone who needs you as a loyal child, or a loyal friend, or a loyal pawn in their game somehow. I don't know. I'm not much of a game player, so I don't like games, but I know some do. Even mind games. That's definitely a part of this, like a mind game, mind manipulation. Let's have a look at this. The singer of initiation. Yeah, it's. I felt like I wanted a spiritual card here. A spiritual card that is explaining some of this. And this is what I feel like. It's like this awakening idea, or this realization, some of the downloads you have, or some of these epiphanies you may feel you have been finding. It was an initiation here to understanding something else about yourself here. You were shown this, I feel like you were shown this imbalance for a reason. And you were also shown how you navigated in this and what it taught you. How it taught you to navigate life. That's what I feel like. You were given, or you can even say the singer of initiation being this, like a start. That could be the starting point I talked about. The initiation, the starting point of your, you could say, trouble, or the way you were riding your waves. It started all with this. If this somehow makes sense to you, this should ring a bell. This should be something that tells you something here. And your guides here, they really want you to know this, right? They want you to realize that you have not been punished or anything. It wasn't a punishment. But it's an explanation, right? It's an explanation of why you incarnated in this situation, why you felt like this has been a pattern in your life, perhaps. The singer of initiation here talks about passage through trial, triumph, and new level. The singer of initiation brings a major transition between old and new. As we prepare to pass through any gate, we are greeted by this singer who tests us to see if we are ready to enter into a new arena, a new realm, or whether, for our own safety and well-being, we must stay where we are. There is no initiation without testing, and this testing must take us to our limits in order to be valid. Initiation is not just a charming ritual with candles and incense and other occult things. True initiation is grounded in material reality, and it extends through body, mind, and emotions. The testing occurs on all levels of our being. The more profound the change being processed, the more rigorous the test. the more rigorous the test. However, these initiations are only given when the singer knows that we have potential. We have the potential, the ability, and the opportunity to pass them. If we pass the initiation this singer offers, we are strengthened by the process itself. In working through it, we learn something about ourselves, and we move finally and irrevocably from one way of being to another. So it's a breakthrough, you could say, or there is a possibility of a breakthrough, a release maybe of standing or being in this arena somehow. Maybe you have a breakthrough. Maybe something suddenly comes to your conscious mind, right? It could be the feeling here that that there has been a play a lot on your heart, on your emotions here, on the loyalty between you and a father or another family member or the entire family. An entire system, right? That you, if you should break out of it, you would betray it somehow. And as long as you stay in it and you play your role, you're rewarded for it. So put it into your situation. It can be a work situation. It can be, but there's definitely something about a dominance situation, I think. A dominant situation where someone was very much in charge of something here. Emperor energy is very but I also want to say the Emperor energy is part of you, Aries, right? And if your Emperor energy has somehow been distorted as a child, it's like it's here, it's around you because it wants you to take that power back, right? It wants you to reconnect with that self. That a part of you has this in you, right? Has this fire in you. But there could be the sense that even you have fire in you, yeah, right? But if you have been standing in front of an even bigger fire, what does a small fire do then? So there is definitely something about like a small energy opposing a big energy here. Small and big, right? Small and big in some kind of arena. Home maybe, or work environment, workplace. Maybe this represents like a family system or even society, right? And there is this little arena where you know you can be there, but you still have to somehow play a role or do a certain part, be creative in a certain way to because within this arena there still is a beast, right? Somehow there is something about learning to ride the waves you encounter. How do you ride your waves? And what influences you? In how you ride your waves, the trouble you're facing here. I even want to say the goddess of creation, well, we see her as as beautiful, right? We see her as life-giving. This is the womb, right? The creative womb. This is where children are created, right? It's where life is created. But we also have to consider that if feminine energy, the creative feminine energy, has been violated somehow, if it has not been given air to breathe, if it has been shamed, if it has been blamed, if it has been if it has received guilt and it has been living in the shadows, to awaken that energy is quite a task, because how does she feel, right? She can be very hurt. She can be mischievous, because this is what she learned, right? She learned how to ride the waves and putting up an act, maybe. This was the only way of her survival, right? So getting in touch with a side of ourselves that has been repressed somehow, there can be a lot of fear still here, and sadness and anger. To connect with that part of ourselves, and also a realization that she wants to do good, this one. But because she was treated wrongly, she has developed a side of herself that we have to understand as well. So one of the things is that maybe you realize there has been a dominance issue somehow in your life. And we can be angry about that. Sad, it can be very painful. But the next part is also, when I grew up in this, how did it affect me? How did it program me? What kind of life did I live with that consciousness? And not allowing myself to step forward, me truly, my own emperor energy here. It was left in the shadows somehow. I couldn't use it. Or the other way around, if you were the one being dominant to someone else here, realizing that. That could be the initiation also, that you see that now. You see how you were the one who controlled everything. How you dominated, how you steered someone, how you kept them small. And somehow they learned to steer you. It can be the other way around. Swap it around if that's more appropriate, right? But the initiation here tells you that you're realizing something. Something is coming to the surface, and you realize something here. Maybe the starting point of something. Or even if you have been dominant to someone else, there is a starting point of that as well. Why did you feel the need to be like that? What gave you the right to be like that? Where does it come from? So there's still a starting point, right? And I feel like it comes from an arena here, where you had to survive and learn to become a loyal friend to something that was threatening you. So you learned to become manipulative. You learned how to manipulate others, maybe. Right? So take it how it resonates here. And it's because you have been watching it. Like you've learned it in your home, I think. It was a way of like surviving. You observed what was going on in your home environment. And you saw someone being able to ride the beast here. And you learned how to copy some of this, right? You learn how to copy some of it. Or you're watching that someone in your home is a beast because they are controlled by some kind of consciousness here that has the reign over them. It could even be you observe yourself. How was I navigating a certain environment here? Maybe this was a consciousness that controlled me during a time of maybe imprisonment, or feeling of isolation, or feeling of being very alone, being trapped somehow, trapped in your body, trapped in some situation in your life. You saw what took over here, what actually controlled dominated your way of thinking, your default reaction to some kind of arena here, right? And that is a test for you to realize something, to realize something about your own value. And you have value not only as a performer here. How do you take your power back, right? Here. How do you take that power back? And you have been going through, it says here, like a trial, right? A test. Initiating you into becoming, you could say, well, the Emperor upright here is someone who knows he is in charge, but he doesn't take advantage of it. So that there could be an initiation process of changing the way you are an emperor if you have been a dominant one, or if you have been a submissive one, that you're claiming some of this power back, right? Something is definitely coming to the surface here for you. You're seeing something in a different light. It could be the feeling of a softer approach, maybe. A softer approach to something. Or compassion. They are all feminine energies. I'm looking for an advice card with this shuffle. So if you feel like you have been like drawn through the ringer of a lot of waves where you had to you somehow had to ride or find a way to stay on top somehow. There could be this feeling, I have to stay on top of a situation. I have to stay in control. Even if I was the small one, I have to stay in control. So how do I control situations like that? How do I control situations where I stand in front of something big here that is putting pressure on me? As I said, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be the feeling of society. It can be the feeling of like mortgage, right? I can't pay my bills. I feel this pressure of modern life. I feel the pressure of that I should be ambitious. I should have all these. But it's like and I can't do it. But when I do it, it's like I have to be someone else. I have to play a part. I have to play a role then. It could be the feeling that to be on earth in a human form, participating in life, is like one big giant performance. And I'm not really myself. I'm not really my authentic self. But it has been my life. Could be that feeling. That I have to perform somehow. I have to be in a certain way to be enough, or to have value, or to be rewarded, or to get the bonus, or to be considered worthy, maybe, by others. The soul shrinker. I took this as an advice card, right? So there is something about become acquainted with what the soul shrinker is. The soul shrinker talks about cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destruction, and blessing. But let me read this for you before you click off the channel, right? Because there is something very important to learn from this card. The distasteful task of the soul shrinker is to observe what we say to and about others, especially the mean, nasty, and unnecessarily critical things. By observing our behavior this way, he reflects it back to us, making us more aware of it. This is a bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to helping to bring about the enlightenment of all. It's a type of job, and it requires great compassion, understanding, and forgiveness if the soul shrinker himself is not to be dragged down to our level. If we are just inwardly spluttering, looking for words, he may even suggest to us the words that express our feelings and energy. Then it is our choice, our test, whether or not we say them. There are two important things about malicious gossip, unnecessary criticism, verbal cruelty, sarcasm, and scoring off of others. One is that it demeans the speaker, making him less, making his aura darker, and encourages the behavior as a habit, continually eroding the brightness and potential goodness of the speaker. The other important thing is that this is a way that we actually curse others. Even if the recipient doesn't hear the actual words of the blessing or curse, even if the words are not spoken aloud, they are carried as discordant notes through ecstasis' song of the universe to the recipient. Fortunately, this is not all there is to it, or such behavior would be unforgivably wicked. Not that it isn't pretty nearly that anyway. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings. If we choose not to accept it, then all of the energy boomerangs back to the sender, who then gets a well-deserved double dose of it. Once long ago, the soul shrinker was very beautiful. But listening to and witnessing all of this human ugliness has rubbed off on his appearance, like that of a lovely frog in a polluted pool, with his skin raw and forming hideous growths. His heart is compassionate and anguished. His heartfelt wish is that we learn right speech and right thought. Every wicked thing a human says makes the soul shrinker more ugly. Every time a human learns this lesson, the soul shrinker becomes a bit less ugly. As you can see, humanity as a whole has a lot of work to do on this. Critical and malicious thoughts and words are having a detrimental effect on the situation and the people involved in it. Steps need to be taken to banish the curse energy through love and compassion, or at the very least through forgiveness and a refusal to accept the curse into oneself. Understanding the implications of this and transforming the behavior and feelings involved is a major and often very difficult step in human spiritual development. One of the things usually involved here is taking responsibility for ourselves and our own feelings rather than blaming others for the way we are. Another part of this process is to learn to be compassionate towards ourselves. If we can do that, it is much easier not to be horrible to or about others. It doesn't mean that we are supposed to be all sweetness and light all the time. Constructive criticism, given compassionately, is a part of being real, and reality is a good thing to be in touch with. I see this card very much linking with the Nine of Wands here. So what we see is what we learn, right? We do better when we know better. But if this is all you knew, how could you do better? So when we say something, it's because it's ruled by, or it's concentrated or controlled by something else. We can become a beast because something is controlling the beast. Something, a consciousness or a fear or something, an anger or a rage is controlling it. And that's why bad things are said. That's why things are treated. We treat people in a certain way. That's why we protect ourselves. We become aggressive as a defense, right? We blame others. That's one of the reasons, but it's because it's learned behavior. It's to stay safe. I'm not saying that this is all right. I'm just saying that criticism from other people is not, it's just a projection of themselves. It's not yours. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And it's up to you whether you take that curse into yourself, oneself, or whether you say no to it. But as a child, that can be difficult, right? Because children are generally very open. They are very trusting. So they trust whatever is presented to them. And it's only later on that we realize that maybe we couldn't trust our parents. Maybe we couldn't trust those closest to us. Maybe it was an arena of fear. And the only way to survive in that arena was to create something, create an illusion, to let a certain element of consciousness control the behavior. But we also have to know that it's the same thing with our parents and even grandparents, right? And again, it's not to blame our parents, it's just to understand it. And maybe learning the compassion that, okay, they did terrible. The way they raised me, it was conditional, not equal give and take. And I wanted it to be, but I can't change it now. But what I can change is my future, right? I can change what I do from now on. When I know better, I can do better. Yeah. My Chiron is in Aries, so I have been facing some of this a while back. I realized that, yeah, maybe I grew up in a muddy pool. And I was very trusting, and I trusted that I was safe with my family. I wasn't, but I trusted it because I had to connect with them, right? It was a trauma bond. It took me quite a while to figure that out. It also took me a while to go through the emotions of it. Because it's not only what's going on in your family home when you grow up, it's also how you treat yourself when you actually move out. The voice is still in your head. The voice is still there. You are still mistreating yourself even when you move out. Or in this case, with the soul shrinker here, maybe you are mistreating others. Because you're just repeating, again, as I said, someone is watching here, watching behavior. It's learned behavior by watching something here. And that's what I feel like. It's just repetitive patterns until we get aware of it. Then from the unconscious, where you have no clue about it, it's suddenly in your face. I hope this helped you somehow, Aries. I just knew with myself when I realized it that it's like a double betrayal. One thing is that I grew up with something like this. Another thing is that I actually did it to myself still. The voice was still there. The correcting, critical voice was still there. I made myself feel less again and again and again. I blamed myself for bad choices. I criticized myself. The voice was like a tape recorder. It was still there. So it's not just the childhood, it's all the years after. Right? When you still you are in, when you are unconscious, you will just repeat a pattern. The vibes inside, they control most of what you do. Scientists have proved that the conscious mind, the mind we connect with when we are awake and we make decisions, it rules about 5%. Our logical, analytical, practical mind, conscious mind, it governs around 5% of our decisions. The rest comes from the unconscious, subconscious mind. As I said, the tape recorder, the stuff that is just there, but it's not easy to access. Or it doesn't come to the surface. As long as our ego operates from a very only at the conscious mind, and you haven't been able to figure out something from the subconscious, as long as you haven't figured that out, you operate from an ego perspective, a designed version of yourself. When this stuff tries to come to the surface here and makes you realize something, this is where everything gets flipped around. As I said in the beginning. And there is a starting point. Right? A critical voice was created a long, long time ago, I think. Okay, I hope this helped you somehow. Take very good care of yourself out there, Aries. I send you my very best. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.